Hey guys, and welcome to the video tutorial of how to do complementary and supplementary angles with a hint into vertical angles. To start off, let's review on what our types of angles are. We have acute, we have right, we have obtuse, and we have straight. And it will be important to remember how to define each of these angles. So for an acute angle, we can only be less than 90 degrees. And for a right angle, it has to be exactly 90 degrees. And we denote that with a small rectangle in the corner here. Obtuse, we have to be greater than 90 degrees, but less than 180 degrees. And a straight angle is strictly 180 degrees. Okay, so keeping those in mind, we're going to apply them to complementary and supplementary angles. There'll be a big role in defining these terms. So we'll begin with complementary angles. The definition that you guys will see in your book is that a complementary angle is the sum of angles who equal 90 degrees. So all the angles that divide a right angle have to add up to 90. If you remember, earlier in the chapter we learned about bisecting angles. So here we have a line that bisects an angle. So each angle will be 45 degrees. So complementary angles of 45 degrees make 90. So 45 and 45 makes 90. So let's go through a couple examples. Let's say we have a right angle and one angle whose measure is 32 degrees. Since we know that a complementary angle is 90 degrees, then we have a simple subtraction problem. So 90 degrees minus 32 degrees, which will equal 58 degrees. And we can apply this with algebra as well. Let's say we have complementary angles and some random x here. We'll describe as angle A. And another angle B, which we will say is 2x plus 1. Again, since we know that each of these angles has to add up to 90 degrees, we have 2x plus 1 plus x equals 90. So, add our 2x and our x, we have 3x plus 1 equals 90. Subtract the 1 and we get 3x equals 89. So x will equal 89 over 3 degrees. And if I ask you to, I might ask you to write that in fraction or decimal form on the test. Let's move on to supplementary angles. Again, in your book, we define supplementary angles as any angles whose measure add up to 180 degrees. So we take a straight angle and we can divide it into however many angles we want. That was a really bad drawing. But the sum of all of these angles has to equal 180. So similarly, take complementary angles. We can do simple addition, subtraction between these angles to find the different angle measures. So let's take a random angle. Say this is 45. And since it's a supplementary angle, we do simple subtraction. So 180 minus 45 equals 135. Right? So that would be the degree measure of this angle. So this is 135. And similarly, I will ask you to do this with algebra 2. Sorry, guys. So we can do, this angle can be, let's say, 3x, and this angle we'll define as 5x plus 2. And since they're complementary, 5x plus 2, since they're supplementary, I'm sorry, plus 3x equals 180. So adding them, we get 8x plus 2 equals 180. Subtract the 2, 8x equals 178. And x equals, that doesn't simplify well, it simplifies a tad, but 178 over 8 degrees. And again, I will ask you that in either fraction or decimal form. So like I said earlier, we're going to hint at a new concept called vertical angles. And that's when, let's just draw it out real quick. Let's say this is a horizontal line. Again, my artistry skills aren't wonderful. So these are two complementary sets of supplementary angles. So let's say this one equals 60. Then the degree measure of this angle over here has to be 180 minus 60, which will be 120. So we see that. Now let's look at it a different way. Aren't these two also two sets of supplementary angles? So let's look at this set right here. So 180 minus 120 must equal 60. And then applying the same concept to these two are supplementary angles. This is 120 degrees. Notice that on opposite sides of the horizontal, the two angles are equal. That's what we define as vertical angles. These two will equal each other, and these two will equal each other. So let's do a couple examples of that. Let's define, draw really big now. Let's say this is 30. If I give you that one angle, you should be able to find all the other angles in this problem. So, since this is a horizontal, it's 180. Vertical angle says that this one will also be 30. And here you can see that we have supplementary angles. So 180 minus 30 is 150. And again, by vertical angles, the one up here must be 150 degrees. And then I can ask you about algebra on these two. For the sake of time, let's not consider that. Let's do one last example. Okay, I'm going to do this. So, what would all the other angles in here have to be? Right, it's going to be 90 degrees. They're all 90 degrees. Keep this in mind when we go into our next chapter. This will be a very important concept to know. Thank you.